What's up, everybody? Welcome to some Oketra, Box Breaker, the cat god, god of all meows. I don't know what her name on the street is, but it's one of those probably. More than likely, it's god of all meows. I think that would be a fitting name for a cat. All right, let's jump into the into the deck tech. We're playing Oketra, the True. She is double strike indestructible. She can't attack or block unless you control at least 3 creatures. Then for 4 mana, 3 colorless and a white, create a 1/1 white warrior creature token with vigilance. So, what are we doing with Oketra? This deck is built around Oketra being a Voltron piece. That is one of our win conditions where we can send her in. She does have double strike. She's a 3/6 body. So we are running some Voltron pieces in here. We're running, if you don't know what that means building a one really big creature. If you're not familiar with the term Voltron means. So we're going to get out Oketra. She's a 3/6. We put Loxodon Warhammer on her. Now she's a 6/6 with lifelink and she already has double strike and indestructible. Now she has trample and lifelink. So when you're going, if you hear the term Voltron, that means that you're slowly building, you're putting as much stuff onto one creature to make it one really big creature. So this is a Voltron deck, but at the same time, it's also a token deck. So we're running a lot of token cards that allows us to satisfy the can't attack or block unless you control at least 3 creatures clause that she has on her God creature card. So it's a little bit of tokens and a little bit of Voltron. So that's kind of what we're going for with the deck. And then on the value spells, it's just a good mono white value creature cards that we have in here that actually kind of fit well in with the token theme. So that's kind of what Oketra's role in the deck is. Oketra is a win condition for us. We're going to get her down and then get into spots where we can start slowly just swinging in with her, bashing at that door until they have no more creatures to chump block on her, and then we can kind of close it out with combat damage. So something like Loxodon Warhammer is just, yeah, it's good. You get that trample going and it feels really good. Okay, now let's jump into the token side of the deck. This is what kind of helps us turn on Oketra. So we are running Gather the Townsfolk, create 2 1/1 white human creature tokens. If you have Fateful Hour, 5 or less life, create 5 of those instead. Mainly what we're looking to do is we're looking to get as many creatures on the battlefield as we can to make sure that we have an active Oketra on turn 4. So stuff like this, it allows us to have 2 bodies on the battlefield. With Oketra, I originally went like a Death and Taxes style build with her, with Thalia and different stuff like that, but I found that it just didn't translate really well, and then I went with more of a token heavy build, and I really enjoyed it that way. Now with Oketra, you can go heavy token to where you're just simply playing token cards and pump effects like Crusade and Intangible Virtue, where all counter tokens get +1 and they have vigilance. You can definitely go that route, but I liked going the token as a way just to turn on Oketra and then having that Voltron in there. But you could definitely go just straight mono white tokens. I mean, Anointed Possession was printed, so it's definitely a nice card to have. We're also running Servo Expedition, same thing. Exhibition, 2 colorless servo tokens. We're running Midnight Haunting, which is a really fun card in the deck because it's an instant speed. Create 2 1/1 white spirit creature tokens on the battlefield. Now Oketra says you need to have at least 3 other creatures on the battlefield, so your total creature count needs to be 4. So let's say that we have Oketra and 1 creature on the battlefield. Let's say it's Bramaz or one of our Weathered Wayfarer, something like that. We have 2 creatures on the battlefield. Our opponent knows that Oketra can't block. If we have Midnight Haunting in the hand, what you can do is you can cast it at instant speed before we go to blockers, get those 2 spirit tokens on the battlefield, and then have Oketra online to double block. So you can get into spots where you can kind of trick your opponent into maybe swinging into a board state that they thought that would be safe for them to swing into, and then next thing you know, the cat god jumps out of the litter box and is like, aha, gotcha. I can't help but not think of her as a cat god. It's funny. We're running Bramaz. Whenever he attacks, create a 1/1 white creature soldier token that's attacked. It's just a good value spell in the deck, and whenever he attacks, we're going to get those extra tokens. Whenever he blocks, we get an extra token. So we're just mainly, if a creature's running in this deck, it's either going to give us some value out of card draw, or it's going to generate some extra tokens, and that's exactly what Bramaz does. We're running Oketra's Monument. First of all, it's a great card for the deck. White creature spells you cast 1 less to cast. We're running about 20 creature cards in here outside of the token generators. And then whenever you cast a creature spell, create a 1/1 white warrior creature token with vigilance. So it's a really good way to kind of turn your, amplify your creatures out. Once again, we're just trying to get into spots where we get, 1 or 2 pieces of Voltron down, have an active Oketra, and start swinging in. Strom's Expertise, 3 tokens, and then we can cast a card for 3 without paying its mana cost, which is pretty much all of our Voltron pieces, so really good card for the deck. Once again, Hero Bladehold kind of fits in there with the Bramaz package. Battle Cry, which helps us swing in, and then we get those soldiers whenever she attacks. We're also running Entrapment Maneuver. This is another one of those that, let's say that we don't have an active Oketra and we can't block. Let's say we're playing against Mimeoplasm. They've got a really big 20/20 out there. We cast Entrapment Maneuver. Target player sacrifices a creature, attacking creature, You create X 1/1 white soldier tokens where X is that creature's toughness. I love this card. I did not get to cast it yet. I'm hoping I get to cast it before the week is over. But it's a really fun card for the deck and a really fun way to kind of have a nice little piece of removal. It's very situational, but hey, it's one of those magic feel good moments that if the stars and the planets align just right, and you can get this card to go off and you get a bunch of soldier tokens. Oh yeah, feels good. We're also running Anointed Procession. Since we're running tokens in here, it's doubling season for tokens. So we get extra tokens. Increasing Devotion. This is a good way to get 5 humans on the battlefield. You get into spots where if you're slowly chipping away at with Oketra and you get down the Increasing Devotion, having 5 1/1 humans, it's not the best, but depending on what kind of game you're playing, it can definitely close the game out for you. And then the Flashback for 9. It's a really good late game, and then we're looking at 10 tokens on the back end, so that's always good. Playing the cat, the immortal cat god. Other cats you control get +1/+1, which this is kind of a bummer, man. I wish Oketra was classified as a cat god. That'd be pretty fun, but it's not. All right, so other cats you control get +1/+1 and have lifelink. Which, if you go look over at Brahmaz, he's a cat soldier, so it kind of fits in really well. Love it. Whenever it enters the battlefield, we're going to create 2 1/1 cat soldier tokens. So mainly we just have this card in here to kind of amplify that. It's we get this down, and next thing you know, Oketra's online because we have the Regal down, and then we have the 2 tokens. So really good card for the deck. Spectral Possession, same thing, 3 mana. We turn online. Gives us 3 1/1 white spirit creature tokens, and by having the flying, it gets into spots where, let's say that we don't have an active Oketra, if we can start connecting with some of our Voltron pieces with some of our flyers or token flyers, it's a secondary game plan. We're also running Elspeth, create 3 soldier tokens, destroy all creatures power 4 or greater, which Oketra is 3, but even if we get more Voltron pieces on there, she's indestructible, so it doesn't really matter. And then that -7 ability is something that we can hope to get to if we get her down. We're also running Mentor of the Meek. It fits in with our token plan, it fits in with our body plan, and also fits in with the card draw, because if you're playing mono white, there's basically 0 card draw, which is just always one of the frustrating things about mono white is there's just no card draw. So you have to look other places. So Mentor of the Meek is a really good way to kind of support our token package and draw a few extra cards off that one ability. That's Oketra. Okay, so that's the tokens. Let's move on over to the Voltron piece. Running Steel Shaper's Gift allows us to search for a piece of equipment. Same thing with Open the Armory. Now with Open the Armory, we're also running Pariah in here. Let me see if I can find it. Excuse me. I forgot to put it on the list. There you go. So with Open the Armory, we can search for an aura. We also so if all damage will be dealt to you, it's dealt to enchanted creature instead. So Oketra is a indestructible god. So once we get down the Pariah on Oketra, as long as she sticks around the battlefield, all damage is going to be dealt to her, and she's indestructible. It's not really going to matter. So, Open the Armory is good for that. Most of the time, you're going to be grabbing a Voltron piece, but it allows you to search for an aura or an equipment card and then put it in your hand. Really good card for the deck. Also running Stoneforge Mystic. Really good. I did have Batterskull in here, but, man, it was very lackluster with my playtesting. So, we do have Stoneforge Mystic to grab some of our equipment, our key Voltron pieces, which we're about to cover. All right, since we're running tokens, it's just silly not to run Skull Clamp. You get it down. Even if we want to take away from an active Oketra, usually equipping a Skull Clamp onto one of your 1/1 soldier tokens and just drawing 2 cards is like a lot more value than just having it on the battlefield, because eventually you're just going to draw into something that'll turn you online for Oketra. So really good card for the deck. Mask of Memory. Once again, it's not a huge Voltron piece for us, but it's just something that allows us to draw 2 cards if it deals combat damage to a player. White has no card draw, so that's what we're going for. And then Ramping is really hard for white too, so we're running Sword. So whenever it attacks, we get to search for a basic. Loxodon Warhammer, great card for the deck. Equipped creature gets +3/+3 and has Trample and Lifelink. So we're looking at getting this down. Oketra's going to have a nice little 6/6 body, double strike, Trample, Lifelink. Oh yeah. Great. Love it. Running the Strata Scythe. Imprint enters the battlefield. Search your library for a land. Exile it. Shuffle your library. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each land on the battlefield with the same name as the exiled card. We're playing mono white, so there are a ton of planes in the deck, as you can see, tons of them. So when we get down the Strata, we're going to be able to slowly, as we keep making our land drops, make Oketra nice and big with that double strike. Always good. Running Sword of Feast and Famine. +2/+2 protection from black and green, helps us against removal, and then they discard a card and untap all lands. Now, when you connect with double strike, oh, it's nasty. We don't have a lot of, you do get into the spots, let's say that we have Secure the Waste. That would be a really good way for us to kind of just dump a bunch of tokens, which I didn't cover in the token. I just now realized I didn't cover that in the tokens. I'll show that in just a second. But let's say we connect with double strike on Sword of Feast and Famine, so we can add that mana, they discard 2 cards, and it's just, really good with double strike. Same thing with Sword of Fire and Ice, protection from blue and red. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, we get to deal 2 damage to target creature or player, and then we get to draw a card. So that's the Voltron pieces. Now here's some of the value spells that we're running. Running Brave the Elements. It's a good way to, let's say we do have a nice little token board established and Oketra on the battlefield, and we're just having trouble pushing through with a bunch of 1/1s. We do have Brave the Elements. White creatures you control gain protection from the chosen color until end of turn. So let's say that we can get into spots where we can just get in a nice little alpha strike with simply just going for a Brave the Elements. Selfless Spirit. It's a good way for us to kind of survive a board wipe from our tokens. Creatures you control gain indestructible. We have Always Watching. It's a good way for us to give Oketra +1/+1 and have Vigilance. So, and it also helps some of our value creatures in here. So we're also running Bygone Bishop. Just a great utility card. Whenever we cast a creature spell with 3 or less, which is pretty much all of our creatures, we're going to be able to investigate, which is crack, draw a card. Also running Ablation. The target of owner non-land permanent shuffles it in his or her library, then draws 2 cards. We can use it as a way to kind of answer some planeswalkers, but also with that draw 2 cards, we can do it at the end of our opponent's turn, maybe shuffle away one of our tokens, and then simply just draw 2 cards. So really good for the deck. We're also running Recruiter of the Guard, just a nice little mono white tutor for some creatures. Archangel of Ties. If it's untapped, creatures can't attack you unless they pay 1 for each of those creatures, and then as long as it's attacking, creatures can't block unless they plays 1 for each of those creatures. So it fits in really well with allowing them not to attack us, and then we get into spots where if we want to swing in with a bunch of tokens, that's really going to be taxing on them to go for that. And Palace Jailer. Look at that dude. Awesome, man. When it enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch, exile target creature an opponent controls, and we become the Monarch unless they connect on some damage with us. We're going to be able to draw some cards, so that's always good. But I just now realized I left off Secure the Waste. So where are you, buddy? It was all the way off on the right. Yeah, here's 2 more cat token generators. We have Secure the Waste. Once again, with Secure the Waste, you're going to be able to get into spots where, let's say we don't have an active Oketra. They swing in, we can dump a Secure the Waste for all of our mana, get 5 or 6 creatures on the battlefield, have an active Oketra, and then be able to swing in on the back end. Same thing with White Sun Zenith. It costs a little bit more, but it's the same concept. Create X/2/2 white cat creature tokens onto the battlefield and then shuffled into the library. And if we have the Cat Lord on the battlefield, that's just extra value. So once again, these are our nice little token generators. We're also running Elvish Norn. It's our last, nice little way to kind of clear our opponent's board and pump those tokens out. But I think that's the deck in a nutshell. I do have a gameplay video up for you, and I'll be releasing more as the week continues on. So, all right, everybody, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks.